This is After the Gridiron, a podcast featuring interviews with retired football players. If you're a fan of After the Gridiron, make sure you subscribe to the show to ensure that you won't miss an episode. Today's episode is sponsored by Symphonies. Symphonies is an online store that provides custom clothing and accessories. They have a number of quality products available at affordable prices. They offer custom, unique, funny, and inspirational products that you won't find anywhere else. So go to www.symphonies.ca to shop for your next purchase. And as a special offer for our listeners, enter promo code GRIDIRON to get 15% off your purchase. So there's no excuse not to check it out. Again, that's www.symphonies.ca. Symphonies. Great products, great prices.
Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Lyle Green, and today we have as our guest, Kerry Joseph. Kerry played 17 seasons, yes that's correct, 17 seasons professional football. He started out in the NFL, he played 5 years in the NFL with Cincinnati, Washington, and Seattle. And then moved on to the CFL, where he played with the Renegades, Rough Riders, Argos, and the Eskimos as well. He played some time in NFL Europe as well, so he's got the full spectrum of NFL leagues, and actually won a World Bowl championship in Europe with the Rhine Fire. He went to the University of McNeese State, where he's a star there at McNeese State, great athlete, and played a number of positions, which we'll get to in our interview. And while in the CFL, he won a Grey Cup with the Rough Riders in 2007, and was also the league MVP that year in 2007 as well. So it's great to have Kerry on the show today. So Kerry, thank you for coming on, and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me on. Glad to be a part of the show.
That's awesome. Thanks for coming. So yeah, to start off, can you tell the listeners something about you that most people probably wouldn't know about you?
Oh man, that's a hard one to start off with. You know what? I'm a very passionate, but kind of very quiet guy. I can kind of be to myself at times, but a lot of people on the outside see me as very outgoing. But I'm very internal sometimes, and for the people that don't know, I love to spend time on the golf course.
Okay, so I'd love to work on your golf game. How's your golf game right now? Doing pretty well, or is it? No,
it's not. It's a little rusty right now. You know, before our season, last fall, I was down to a 10 handicap. And once you get into the football season, you don't get a chance to play much. So that golf game kind of goes out the window a little bit.
Kind of goes out the window. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's go back to the beginning of your football career and talk about how you got started in football. I know people get started at different times in their lives. I know for me it was in high school, but what was it for you? When did you get started in football?
I actually picked up the game of football at the age of 9 years old. Started in a flag football league back in my hometown, and from there, you know, it just kind of never left me. It was a game that I loved to be around. I loved the contact and the physicality of the game. And I kind of just grew from there on into high school and from there on.
Okay, great. And did you play any other sports growing up as well, or is it just strictly football?
No, I actually played other sports. You know, I was a young kid that wanted to be involved in everything, and I played basketball, I played baseball, and when I got into the high school level, I actually threw the javelin and the discus in high school also. So in high school, I actually played 4 sports.
Oh, wow. So did you do the decathlon in track and field?
No, I just threw the discus and the javelin. You know, I played baseball, and I love baseball, and one day I just kind of went out and messed around and picked up the javelin and the discus, and, you know, a couple of years later, I became state champion in both of them. So I was just was blessed with the gift that God gave me, and I was able to utilize it in high school. That's
awesome. Yeah, you had that strong arm. Obviously, as a quarterback, you have that strong arm, which can be utilized in other sports. So, yeah, definitely not surprised that you're pretty good with the discus and javelin as well.
Yeah, it turned out I had some good coaching too, so it turned out to be pretty good.
Okay, nice. All right, so was football kind of always your favorite sport, and was it something that you thought you could make it professionally in, or was it just something that you enjoyed doing as a kid?
Football was always my favorite sport. As I got into high school and I started to see the success that I had, I had a lot of role models. When you look at guys like Randall Cunningham, Warren Moon, Joe Montana, guys that played in the NFL that I would always watch on TV. It became very intriguing to me, and it became a goal and a dream of mine. So I really dove into the game of football and embraced it, and it became my number one sport.
Nice. So I know you eventually ended up playing a few different positions, but in high school, were you strictly a quarterback, or did you play other positions as well?
I was strictly a quarterback. I did practice playing on the defensive side of the ball, but being at one of the biggest high schools in the state of Louisiana, you didn't have to play both ways. So I never had a chance to play on the defensive side in the game. So my time was mostly spent on the offensive side and being a quarterback.
Okay. And so let's talk about going to university, going to McNeese State University. How's the recruiting process? Were you heavily recruited, and how did you end up choosing McNeese State?
I wasn't very coming out of Louisiana. We didn't throw the ball a lot in high school until my senior year, so I wasn't recruited by a bunch of big schools. I was recruited heavily by a bunch of Louisiana smaller schools, and McNeese State was one of them. They've always had a great program, and I went there. I was offered a full scholarship, went there on a visit, and the head coach that was there was good friends with my dad. He's from the same hometown. So, I felt very comfortable, and I felt I was going to get a fair opportunity there to play the quarterback position because a lot of schools recruited me, to be honest with you, to be an athlete. I actually had one school, it's the University of Louisiana Lafayette now, actually wanted me to punt. Because I punted in high school. So it was very intriguing and very interesting the way I was recruited. But McNeese gave me an opportunity to play quarterback, and I just felt comfortable with the head coach that was there, and I just dove into it and embraced that opportunity.
Yeah. One of the things being a great athlete as you are, it's going to college. The college coaches see your athletic ability and want to place you in different positions. So if you're able to do a lot of different things, there's a lot of different coaches that want to see what other different things you can do and put you in different positions. But I'm guessing you want to be a quarterback and had a heart to be a quarterback the whole time?
I did. You know what? I really did. And it was a challenge for me because a lot of people told me when I left out of high school I couldn't be a college quarterback. So I had that chip on my shoulder to prove people wrong. And I had that kind of the same deal when I left out of college. So that was always my drive. When people told me I couldn't do it, I wanted to prove people wrong. And I wanted to challenge myself. So it drove me in my work ethic. It drove me in my confidence and just my goals as I went forward and helping my team be successful.
Yeah, when people kind of put you down and think you can't do things, that's definitely fuel to the fire for a lot of athletes. And it seems like you included that. When people tell you you can't do something, you want to work extra hard and put in the extra effort to make sure to show them that you can do something.
Correct, and that's what it's all about. It's all about competition and competing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the more you work harder and the more competition there is, the better it is for the team and for yourself. It kind of pushes you to work that extra hard and to push yourself to levels that you might not have been able to reach if you didn't have that extra drive in you.
Correct. Yeah, that's totally correct.
Yeah. All right, so talk about your time at McNeese State. I'm sure you had a great career, obviously, and did enough to show some potential to pro team. So talk about your time at McNeese State.
I had a chance over there to be a 4-year starter. Going into there, my first year I was redshirted, so I had a chance to grow and to sit back and watch the older guys play the game at the college level. And then when my opportunity came, I became a 4-year starter. Was surrounded by some great football players. Had a chance to be a part of 2 conference titles. Actually led McNeese State to their first college postseason playoff win. Playing at the 1AA level. we have playoffs, and so I had the opportunity to get our first playoff win at McNeese State. Finished with a career record of 40-11 win-loss record. Like I said, two conference titles, and also a run deep into the playoffs. In 1995 was a team that finished 13-1. We ended up losing to Marshall University in the semifinals of the playoffs. So, I had a great run over there. All-American. Have a chance to be in the McNeese Hall of Fame and the Southland Conference Football Hall of Fame. So it was a great time, and it set me up for a great opportunity for post football and to be able to play professionally once I was able to leave McNeese State University. My coaches, like I said, I was taught a lot of things there. One of them was patience, because when I got there, I wanted to play right away. I was one of those, athletes coming out of high school. I want to play right now, but I had a coach that taught me to be patient, and in the long run, it paid off with me of learning the game and really growing as a young man.
Yeah, definitely learned a lot in college, and not just on the field, but off the field as well. As you mentioned, becoming a young man and maturing and growing as a person, you definitely do that as well at college. So, yeah, being able to learn your first year and to kind of sit back and watch the veterans and learn from that was probably a good experience for you.
It was. It really was. And I'm thankful for that. And I was able to use that going forward also as I became a college football coach in dealing with the new generation of athletes and that microwave mentality of I want everything right now. I was actually able to use that in my coaching to actually teach these young men how to work hard and to just trust the process as you develop into a football player, as a college athlete.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the new generation there, definitely, like you said, the microwave generation where they want everything quickly and done, immediately. But it's good that you have that experience where you can, relate to them and let them know that sometimes things take time and you just have to be patient and to help them to work through that patient time.
Correct, and it really benefited me. And I look back on my life now and the things I've had to endure as an athlete. Now I can really share and I can nurture younger athletes now and mentor them of understanding what it takes to be successful. Yeah,
definitely. All right, so let's talk about your time making it to the pros and going to Cincinnati. You went there as an unrestricted free agent. I'm not sure if there are other teams that were looking to pick you up after the draft, but talk about your choice in going to Cincinnati.
Well, I had a choice between the Bengals and the Eagles at the time. But also the Eagles, they had drafted a quarterback out of Ohio State, and I knew my chances of making that roster was going to be tough. So I knew I was going to have a great chance with the Bengals, and it was a quarterback by the name of Jeff Blake, who I really referenced myself to also. So I took that option, and it turned out to be the third quarterback that year in 1996, and I was able to learn a lot. Then the Bengals sent me off to NFL Europe, where I had a chance to grow there my first year over there, and unfortunately, I got released from the Bengals, and that's when I got picked up from the Redskins. And when I went to the Redskins, I had to move to running back. So I spent some time in camp there to just learn another position. But also, once again, just to be blessed and gifted to be able to make that transition to another position as a professional athlete. But my time in Cincinnati was good. I was able to learn a lot about the game of football at the NFL level.
Nice. You talked about having to switch positions, but before we get to that, I just want to ask you what your experience was like in NFL Europe. So NFL Europe doesn't exist anymore, but a lot of guys that end up playing over there and had a great experience of playing there and getting to develop their skills. So can you talk about your time in NFL Europe and what that was like?
You know what? It was very good. It was a good experience. I spent 1 year in London with the London Monarchs, and then I went back next year and I spent with the Ryan Fire. And both of those was an opportunity for me to grow as a football player, but also be able to showcase my ability and my talent. When you go over there in a different country with a bunch of guys from the States all competing to try to make their way back into the NFL, it's very competitive. It's very competitive, and the guys that show up are normally the guys that stick around. So I had an opportunity to continue to chase my dream. If that league wasn't around, my career could have probably been over. So I had just embraced that opportunity of going into a foreign country but playing a U.S. game of football. And like I said, the first year I went over, I was a quarterback. Then I had to, switch over to the safety spot, the defensive back the next time. But it helped me to accelerate and to really catapult me throughout my NFL career.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, so talk about the transition to different positions. I know the NFL is a tough league to make, and the more you can do, as they say in sports, the more you can do, the better it is for you. So you're able to play different positions and to play running back and safety. Can you talk about how that transition was for you, having to switch positions?
The transition was good for me. Like I said, I'm blessed. I really am allowed to be able to have the gift to change. And I worked out for a couple of NFL teams when I got released from the Washington Redskins as a running back. I went and I worked out for some teams in 1997 during the fall. And there was a player personnel director of the New Orleans Saints told me, if you want to stick around and play, switch to safety. So at that time, I switched over to safety, went back to NFL Europe and played with Ryan Fire and had a chance to be successful, to start as a safety, to win the World Bowl, and then get picked up in Seattle and spend 4 years as a defensive back and a special team guy with the Seattle Seahawks. So that transition actually helped me to prolong my NFL career, to be able to get my retirement, to retire from the NFL, fully vested. So that was truly a blessing for me. I never did understand why I had to go from quarterback, to play defensive back, but I'm thankful that I was able to do that in the long run. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, not many people have that ability and have the skills to be able to make such a big transition. Not only just a different offensive position, but obviously going to the other side of the ball and playing safety is a huge difference. So for you to be able to do that is just a credit to you and your athletic abilities and what you could do on the field.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was just a truly a blessing to be able to do that and make that transition.
Yeah, definitely. But as we mentioned, quarterback was where you wanted to play, and that's where your heart was, and you got that opportunity to do that up here in the CFL. So talk about your time up here in Canada, and how was it when you first heard of Canada? I'm not sure. Being down south, you probably didn't hear much about Canada, if anything. So talk about how it was transitioning to coming up here and playing in the CFL.
You know what? It was a little different, but I did know about it a lot because of Warren Moon, because of Doug Flutie. So I did have an understanding of the CFL. I didn't know exactly where a lot of places were. Don't get me wrong, but I knew coming out of college that there was some people that was interested in me coming straight up here. But I wanted to chase my NFL dream. That's what I really wanted to chase. But when I had a chance, the guy, General Manager Eric Tillman was the GM of the Ottawa Renegades at the time. When I was out of football, he just reached out to me, and he knew I hadn't played quarterback in like 7 years. So he felt that it was a great opportunity for me going forward to be able to come up there and to be able to compete and play the position again from the quarterback standpoint.
Yeah.
So, at the time when you're out of football, and I knew I was always a quarterback at heart. So I said, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to go forward and to be able to resurrect my career and to see where it would take me, because I knew I still wanted to play the game of football. So I kind of dove into it and looked into some options, and I had a chance to sign with the Ottawa Renegades.
Yeah, it's awesome. It definitely turned out to be a great decision for you, having an amazing career up here in Canada. And let's move forward to your time in Saskatchewan after Ottawa folded at the time, and the dispersal draft, and you went to Saskatchewan, got picked up by them, and had a great season in Saskatchewan in 2007. Amazing season, MVP winning season. Can you talk about your 2007 season and beating us in BC, which was tough for me, but but it was great for you guys, and winning the Grey Cup that year. Can you talk about that season?
It was a great season for us. When you think about guys like Roy Shivers and Danny Barry that assembled a good football team in 2006, and we came up short against you guys in 2006. And then going into 2007, we knew that we was going to be a good football team, and at the helm with Kent L. Austin and Eric Tillman as the GM, they assembled some other pieces together, and we were able to put some good things together going forward. It was a good football team. You know what? We had a good run, and we just felt good about that season. And just getting back into the playoffs, we knew we had to go back into BC if we wanted to get to the Grey Cup. And it was just an amazing run. It was one of those deals where when you look back, I look back on that season of the Labor Day Classic, the game with the quarterback draw against Winnipeg, the game against the Edmonton Eskimos when the storm came through and knocked the power out, and when we were losing and came back to win that game. It was just one of those deals where things just kind of fell in place for us. And, and I had to hold up to my promise. I made a promise to Fred Perry after we lost to you all in 2006. I told Fred, I said, we're coming back and we're going to win it in 2007. So I took those words into my off-season training, and I said I was going to do whatever I needed to do to bring that team back to that Grey Cup and, into that Western Finals. And we had a chance to come back and win and get into the Grey Cup. And it was just amazing. Yeah. It was a great run.
Yeah, you definitely broke our hearts that day, but many of the Saskatchewan Rough Rider faithful were definitely happy. And when you guys went on to play Winnipeg and beat them in the Grey Cup that year, I'm sure it was an amazing experience for you and also for the fans of Saskatchewan winning that championship. Can you talk about going back to Saskatchewan after winning and what the reaction was from the fans there?
It was great. Just coming back into Saskatchewan and knowing that was number 3 for that province and for that city of Regina, it was a place full of joy. It had been a long time coming, and people were very excited to have that opportunity to hoist that Grey Cup again. And for myself, it was about guys like Gene Mikowski, who had never had the opportunity to do it, and seeing him to be able to, being a Regina, Saskatchewan native, to be him to hold that trophy up, that brought a lot more joy to me, because that was his home, and it's a great place for football, and to be a part of that, that's a bond, that's a lifetime that you would be able to, always go back to Saskatchewan.
Yeah, definitely. That's memories that will never leave you and will stick with you for the rest of your life, and being able to enjoy that with some great teammates and great friends and family and fans in Saskatchewan is something that will always be with you, I'm sure.
It always will, and that's the thing that you hold on to, and know that you would always be a part of greatness.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's talk about coaching. You mentioned being a coach, and that's something you've transitioned to. So can you talk about your decision to go into coaching? Is that something you thought about near the end of your career? Is that something that kind of just an opportunity came to you? How did that end up coming about?
It started toward the end of my career. I started to realize, in the off season, I would come home and I would do these football clinics and camps with Nike, and I spent a lot of my off season with doing that and coaching high school kids at those camps. And I just kind of, felt a passion there to be able to share and to teach young men, the next generation, how to play the game of football fundamentally. And then at the back end of my career with the Edmonton Eskimos, I started realizing, when I got released from Toronto and I went back to Edmonton, Kavis Reed was the head coach there at the time, and he wanted me to be that role model, be that leader, be that mentor, and being able to, at the professional level, to being able to interject my wisdom and my knowledge of the game to these men, that's when I felt that I was on to something. When you the second backup quarterback in the locker room and guys are coming to you, younger guys, I'm late 30s at the time, coming to me, asking me questions, how should I do this? That's when I started to realize that, I think God has placed me somewhere for a particular reason. And that's when I really started to look into wanting to coach the game of football. Then, it's funny, that's when I really started understanding why I had to go play defense. Because now as a coach, I can coach from the offensive side. I can coach what to expect by defenses because I understand it better now. And I can also coach on that side of the ball. So I think that was my true blessing, my calling to become a coach.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely things happen for a reason. And, God just, gave you that opportunity to play some defense and it's turned out to be a blessing for you to be able to have that experience and to know the defensive side of things and the defensive calls and defensive mentality. So you have the full spectrum of football and the full spectrum of coaching that you can draw from, that you can relate to these young kids and to relate to your players that you're coaching. So it's definitely a good thing for you in the long run.
It really does help. It really does help give me a broad perspective of the game of football and just being a coach, and not so much to say I know more than people, but just to have that knowledge where I can see it from both sides of the field, on the offense and the defense. And I kind of took it and ran with it, and had an opportunity to do an internship with the New Orleans Saints, and, had an internship with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then just start my coaching career back at my alma mater was just awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing being able to coach at your alma mater at McNeese State and go back to where it all started. I can imagine must have been a great experience for you. So let's first talk about coaching with the Saints. How was that experience for you? Being a coach in the NFL, and how was it compared to being a player? Was it like being on the other side of the ball?
You know what? It was different. You saw the speed of the game in a different aspect. You saw the physicality of the game, and actually, it's so funny. First inside drill, 907 run drill, it was so violent. I had to actually ask myself, what the hell was I thinking playing this game? Like this, that was very violent right there, and I put myself in that situation. So you saw it a little different, but you kind of separate yourself from the player side to the coaching side now, because you can't be on the same level as the players. Regardless if they're young men or men, you have to separate yourself, and but you have to have that mutual respect, because I play the game, I understand what they're going through. So that was a pretty neat experience to be around some great coaches at the highest level of football.
Yeah, one of the coaches that were there at the time, is it still Sean Payton, or is it someone else?
Yes, same. Most of the staff that's there now, especially on the offensive side of the ball, was there when I was there. So I had a chance to work under Sean Payton, Pete Carmichael. Had the chance just to see Drew Brees in the meeting room, and just the whole professional setting. It's just it's totally awesome, and you see why they are where they are right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, having great coaches makes a huge difference. So being able to be mentored by a great coach like Sean Payton is definitely a great benefit for you.
It is. You know what? Because you see how he calls the game, you see how he prepares, you see what type of play caller he is. He's a very aggressive-minded person when it comes to play calling. So you kind of take what you can out of those internships, and you use that going forward into your coaching experience.
Yeah. All right. So you went from there. You had spent some time, like you said, at McNeese State and coaching there. What was it like coaching the college kids? It's obviously a different set of players compared to the professional level. So what was it like, with coaching the college kids?
You're dealing with a bunch of entitled kids. I can tell you that much. But it's great, because you get a chance to touch a young man, not just in the game of football, but also in the academic and life setting. When you get kids and you recruit kids from different lifestyles and backgrounds and cultures, you get to mold them into one unit, into one team, and you got to handle them totally different. So I had a chance to really grow close to some young men and to guide some young men in life outside of the game of football, because some of them didn't have a dad, some of them didn't have a dad or a mom. So it was really a great experience. And at that level, and the level I was coaching at, when you don't have a lot of personnel and a lot of help off the field, you're called to do a lot when it comes to academics, socially, athletically. You basically have hands-on with your kids all the time. So it really taught me how to really take a step back and really look for the needs and really take notice of what each kid needed, on the field and off the field. And you develop a personal relationship with these young men that's going to be a lifetime bond. And a lot of them appreciate that, because they have that respect, and they're grateful because they know you don't care for them just for football. You care about them with life and life after football.
Yeah, definitely. As a college coach is a lot more involved, and as you said, you don't have as much staff, so you have to do a lot more with in regards to the program. So you're more than just a coach. You're kind of like a father figure and a parent to the kids, and you have to help them. As you mentioned, some of them don't have fathers or people around to support around, so you have to fill in and fill in that role for them and help them in that aspect. So kind of teach them about life and to become young men and to be great citizens as well. So it's a lot more involved than a pro coach.
It really is. It really is more involved, and you really realize, the impact that you're making. I don't have any kids of my own, but when you get a text for Father's Day and you got one of your position players tell you, "Hey, Coach, happy Father's Day. You've been like a father to me." That's when you know you're hitting in the right places and you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, it must be nice to get messages like that when you know you're making an impact on a kid's life. Is a great feeling for sure.
It really is. It really is, and that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so let's finish off with what I call the top of the mountain moment. So looking back on your football journey and what you've gone through football and where you are now, is there a favorite story, a favorite moment? Is there words of wisdom that you have for young kids? How would you like to finish off here with the top of the mountain moment?
I think the biggest thing is about perseverance. When I look back on my career and the things that I had to go through, the places I had to travel, going to NFL Europe, winning the championship there, changing positions, playing offense, playing defense, having an opportunity to chase my dream and playing 5 years in the NFL at 3 different positions, then having to go to Canada and go back to playing quarterback, having a chance to win the ultimate prize of the Canadian Football League, which is the Grey Cup, and being named the MVP. It taught me about life and about perseverance. And winning that Grey Cup, it's like sitting on the mountaintop and looking back and say, you know what, this is how far I have come. And I can look back and look at all the people that helped me along that journey. And what it taught me is when you get there, don't forget about who helped you and always be able to reach back and help the next person to climb that mountain also. So my biggest message to young men is about patience and perseverance. You got to be patient and trust the process, and you got to perseverance, because as you go through life and as you go through chasing your dreams and goals, there will be challenges, there will be adversity, but you got to be able to persevere and have the strength to continue to endure through those tough times. And that's the biggest thing for young athletes is don't rush it. Don't try to get to the mountaintop right away. Trust the process and grow as you climb. Yeah, definitely. You got to take it one step at a time. Don't try and look at the end result, but just go one step at a time and just keep plugging away and keep going and persevering and going through the tough times and through the agonies and through the hardships. Once you keep going and you look up, you're going to be there at the top of the mountain. So you just gotta, as you said, persevere and keep going and not stop. And work hard. You got to work hard. I tell young men. Yeah, definitely. A 10th grader in high school, don't look at that freshman year in college, because you got to get through 11th and 12th grade and graduate from high school first. And then when you get to college and you're that first year in college, don't think about the NFL and look at the NFL. You got to get through college first. So I use that to say, be the best that you can be every day, 1 year at a time. And if it's meant for it to happen, through hard work and God's blessing, it'll happen for you.
It'll happen. Yeah. Great words of wisdom, Kerry. So, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure interviewing you and having you on. And do you have any social media contact if people want to contact you or to follow you? Do you have a Twitter?
Twitter is the best way. With recruiting, I'm at Kerry Joseph 4. It's very simple for you, and that's the best way. You can reach me there, DM me there. Any questions that you may have for anything as a young kid, as a young athlete, as an adult, as a parent. It's open forum for me, and anything that I can help you with, I'm more than acceptable and open to helping you.
That's great. Well, thank you, Kerry, again, and just appreciate your time and wish you all the best.
All right, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thanks, Kerry. Take care.
Thank you for listening to After the Gridiron. If you're a fan of the show, please make sure you subscribe to the show and also leave a rating and review. By doing that, you also help spread the word about the podcast and assist others in finding the show, so more people can enjoy this great content. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, with the links to those being found on the website. Your support is very much appreciated. Also, please visit the resources page on the website for links to our sponsors and affiliates. Their support helps to keep the show running. So go to www.atgridiron.com/resources to check them out. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you when we kick off our next episode.